Hi, this is Arthur Carmazzi, best-selling author and currently ranked as one of the world's top 10 thought leaders in organizational culture and leadership. And today I am going to be talking about something that is very close to my heart, how teens can be great. And let me tell you a little bit about why that's important to me personally. See, when I was in school, I had some issues, and I wasn't really the kind of kid that got really great grades, and, I was bullied a little bit, and, I was a little bit different. And there was one teacher that inspired me, not because of how much he knew, not because of his teaching processes, but because he was able to really kind of get me to understand my own potential. And that one teacher literally changed the direction of what my life could be. Because before that, quite honestly, I didn't really think I'd amount to much. And, I kind of believed all the chatter that was going on around me about my inability to do stuff. So my mission, together with, some of the other great people who I have associated with, is to help teenagers to really find themselves and, essentially be great, make a huge impact in the world. And so today we're basically talking about how teens can be great. So let's look at, what happens when you're a teenager? This is when you are on a journey of discovering yourself. Literally, this is the most important part of your life. And of course, when your parents are raising you and the values they give you and all that stuff, that's super important, okay? But eventually, you become, as a teenager, you become an independent person. You need to find out who you are, and you need to decide whether the values that culture has imposed on you, that your parents have imposed on you, and all of these things are actually who you are. And those journeys require a lot of decisions, okay? So we make decisions that will basically shape whether our lives are going to be successful or whether they maybe are going to have less success. And by success, I'm not just talking about money. I am talking about happiness. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about just an overall quality of life. Okay? So, these decisions are essentially affected by your environment. See, because as a teenager, for that matter, as a person in general, what's happening is that you are always being affected by the environment. Now, the environment is usually people, it's culture, it's family, it's media. There is a lot of stuff that's going on in your environment, and you're getting all of this input. Now, the input that you get, you can take it and say, oh, this is me. Or in some cases, we take that environment and we kind of use it to get things like, for example, when sometimes we say, oh, I'm just not good enough. Okay, oh, I'm just never going to amount to anything. Okay, sometimes you feel that way, but the psychology behind it is that you want people to say, oh, no, that's not true. You're going to be great. Don't worry about it. And you want people to console you and give you this stuff. And this is how sometimes we negatively get our emotional gratifications by kind of being negative around people that we want to reinforce how great we are, which eventually gets old and people kind of want to stay away from you for a little while. But here's the question, okay? If we are being affected by our environment, okay, the question is, are we really in control? And the real thing is that, environment can be your greatest success, or it can also be your greatest weakness. So, can you be in control? That is the question. Can you be in control of how the environment affects you? So let me kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what environment is. All right? So let's see, okay, for example, that here you are right in the middle. That's you. And these little rings around you, that's the people that are around you. Now, this environment can be your friends. It can be friends group A, and then you got another group of friends group B. It can be your family. It can be your schoolmates. It can be any group of people. Now, whenever you go into any group, by the nature of a group dynamic, you are affecting and changing that group. Okay? The moment you go in there, you change that group. Now, here's the thing. The group is also affecting you and will also change your behavior. This is why you, if you are a teenager, or for that matter, even an adult, when you go into one group, your behavior in one group is actually very different than your behavior maybe in a different group. So you're different with your friends than you maybe are at home, or you're different at work or at school than you are with a different group of friends. Why? Is it because like you suddenly decide, oh, I have to be this way? Or is it that the group itself is affecting what parts of you, parts that you already have, come out? So, here's the thing, okay? Understanding your environment allows you to literally be able to make small modifications that will affect how the environment reacts to you. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let's say that you normally go out with your friends and you talk about stuff and, you're kind of excited and, you're just really doing all sorts of crazy stuff and everything else. And you go to, some cafe or something like that. And so you're in this cafe and you're being crazy and you go, wow, yeah, like this. You've got lots of energy, right? Okay, so let's say that is you. Now let's say that you have the same group, you go to the same place, you talk about the same stuff, but your energy level is different. So you're kind of like, well, this is the way I think. And you're even talking about the same stuff using the same words, but the level of energy changes. Would it affect the group? And the answer is, well, yeah, it would affect the group. So, if it's affecting the group, that means that by understanding how the group works, you can affect the group to essentially help you to be more of the person that you want to become. Because, especially when you're a teen, sometimes you've got this image of the person you want to be, and then you've got this other part of you that kind of isn't that person. And you're trying to kind of merge the two and kind of mix it up. And especially in your teen years, this is super important because the decisions you make shape your future. So, here are 4 actions that you can take that are going to help you create great success in your future. You ready? Okay. Number 1. Act intelligently. Now, I put this one first because this one is actually the most difficult. It is literally the most difficult of all of them. This requires you to have an amazing amount of awareness of yourself and the psychology of groups and how you interact and are affected by groups as well as how you are affecting groups. But let's just kind of look at this, why this is important, okay? See, the thing is that those groups are oftentimes causing reactions. That means that people do this and you react to them, okay? Now, we react to them for a lot of different reasons. We react to them out of self-preservation. Oh, we got to look good in order to stay part of the group. Or it could be, oh, I want to rebel against X. Or it could be because I want to impress this person. Or it could be because if I don't do this, my parents are just, going to rag on me, and I just got to stay stressed out and do all this stuff. Okay? It's a lot of different emotions that are affecting your environment and you react to those emotions. Why? Well, because as human beings, we are emotional creatures. So, here's the problem. When you are reacting, you are not acting intelligently. And the reason is because reaction happens, without getting too technical, it happens in the amygdala and the reptilian brain, which essentially are not the thinking parts of your brain. Okay? They are there for self-preservation. If you want to be intelligent, you have to not be reactive. And in order to not be reactive, you need to understand why people are doing the things they do. So, for example, one of the key things that we work with when we're dealing with these big companies is we help people to understand what we call their colored brain, which is based on how their brain gets clarity. Because you know how sometimes you're in a classroom and you've got this teacher and he's explaining things, and you're looking at this guy and you're going, oh my gosh, I don't get it. It's just like, it's like this teacher is speaking in a language that you don't understand, and you have to go back and you have to study a lot. But, like maybe some of your friends, they go, what are you talking about? It's like so obvious. Well, he's just doing this. But then you go to a different class with a different teacher, it's like, whoa, this is so easy. But your friends may have a little bit of a different idea or a different problem, and they may not get it as easily as you do. So sometimes we think that the people over there, that they don't have to study, they're like super smart. But in reality, sometimes they're just smart enough, but their process happens to be the same as the teacher. So understanding your clarity-getting process, understanding your emotional drives, how people are actually filling their emotional drives. Sometimes it's not, most of the time. It's not about you. When somebody does something that kind of makes you a little bit reactive, it's most likely not about you. It is somebody filling emotional gratifications on their own, and they just don't think about you because we as human beings need to get our emotional gratifications. So anyway, there's this whole big thing. You can look, there's a whole bunch more stuff on there that you can look on YouTube, on colored brain, on emotional drive. Just look for Arthur Carmazzi and all these things. Anyway, acting intelligently is the key. So being able to not react and use strategy to achieve what you want to achieve. So that's number one. Number two. Use directive questions. Use directive questions. So, what are directive questions? Directive questions, instead of, say, telling people what to do, you ask people what they should do in order to achieve X, right? So, for example, when I am working with my children, who are not teens yet, but I ask them, so do you think that that's the right action in this particular situation? And then they actually think about it, and they come up with the answer. I don't tell them, don't do that. Why? Because that's me telling them what to do. It's not them making a decision for themselves. When you are around people, by asking people how they are are these actions supporting some greater thing? So for example, maybe somebody is making fun of you, So instead of saying, hey, you're X, whatever, you might want to say, so let me ask you a question. Does making fun of me actually help you to feel better? Does it support your ego? Does it really help you to kind of be a better person? Or are you just doing this because you're ignorant? Now, of course, that might be a little bit mean, but if somebody's making fun of you, they're a little bit mean too. So you can do all kinds of directive questions to get people to do things, or in some cases, not do things. By using questions to get people to think about what their actions are, you can help them to support the environment that is going to help you be more of who you want to become. So for example, if you're the kind of person that says, hey, I want to really learn more and I really want to be successful, and you've got these people that are saying, hey, we should go out and we should party and, forget about, this project that you're working on, and you say, well, for example, you could instead of saying, no, I don't want to, you can ask, how can this party support me in getting something from or applying this new stuff that I'm thinking of for this project? Okay? Now, why is that important? Because, see, the assumption that sometimes people have is that a party in itself is not going to be productive. But that's not necessarily true. You could learn a lot of things from a party. The question is, okay, and this is bringing us to the next section, having fun with purpose, right? If you can literally ask these kinds of questions to all of the fun things that you do, like going to a party, you might actually find ways to identify behavior patterns in some of the people at the party, and you might actually go ahead and take some notes and use that for a project. Or you could just maybe practice social skills, or practice communication, or practice influence. Okay, so there's all kinds of different things that you can actually learn while you are having fun. So when somebody says don't go to a party because you need to study, well, that's possible, but it's not always true if you ask the right questions, which means you can have fun with purpose. So anytime you want to have fun, how can I use this fun thing to essentially achieve my goals, whatever those goals may be? And of course, finally, choose wisely. And in this particular case, understanding how you work, understanding what motivates you, understanding how other people are motivated sometimes, okay? And there is literally a recipe for the right teams, how people can really work together well and achieve amazing things. And I've done all this research, and it's actually out in one of my latest books called The Architects of Extraordinary Team Culture. And in this book, and you can literally see how the different motivators that different people have are going to affect a team. So for example, you get 5 guys in a team, and sometimes you've got super performing guys that are always getting really great grades, and they put them into a team, and then they end up not really performing very well. Why? Well, there's a recipe. Finding out how your motivations connect and sometimes may conflict with each other can save your life, because you don't want to choose people that you're going to work with if they're not going to help you achieve your goals. And what I mean, again, by goals, not just study, not just success, your goals as to becoming the person that you want to become. So, choose the people that you work with, hang out with, be friends with wisely. Ask the question, are these people going to support the person that I want to become? And, of course, what to do next. If you are out there and you want to learn more about this, well, there's a lot more videos. There's a lot of stuff on brain science that I can do. You can watch a whole bunch of stuff on there. And, of course, if you're looking for a school that supports greatness, understands you, understands the psychology of what you want to achieve, then do check us out at Kingsley Leadership Academy. And of course, the website is kingsleyleadership.academy. So, with that, this is Arthur Carmazzi wishing you great success.